welcome back to the podcast. So I don't want to say this is the 4th episode because Sarah and my episode went like an hour and a half long, so I might have to split that sucker in half. But I'm Tonya, and I'm the photographer and owner of Beauty Marks Boudoir, and the guest today is Bianca.
Hi.
And the fun thing about this is another one of those situations where I feel like, one, we've known each other for a long time, but it's like guest turned into friend. I mean, you were on my party bus for my birthday.
That's true.
You made me swallow a goldfish.
I forgot about that. Yep, 100%.
But we were talking before because I always like to know when the first session was, and we had to pull out my other hard drive to figure out that it was May 2019.
Yeah, I can't believe it's already been 5 years.
I know.
That's crazy to me.
I can't believe, I mean, moved out of the old studio into the studio 2020, but there was lots of months in between. Mm-hmm. Or not a lot, but, and then here. So.
Yeah, that was the only shoot that I ever did in the old studio.
Yeah. Okay, so coming to that, Bianca is a VIP guest. So what that means is she has exclusive access to the Facebook group. She's one of the first to find out about events, podcasts, photo shoots, all of that kind of stuff. But she also can have priority access to session dates that aren't available through the online booking. VIP events, like we did a Christmas party one year and all of that kind of fun stuff. So VIPs have access. So Bianca has a VIP not because she bought the top package, but because she was a brand ambassador in 2019. Yeah. Which means, and we were trying to count shoots, and I purposely didn't finish that thought because I really wanted to do it together here on the pod. Speaking of, this is the Take Up Some Damn Space pod. So, welcome. If it's your first time watching, there is a handful of episodes before this, but we are just getting started. So, it's an adventure. It definitely is a beautiful adventure. But, so our first session was in the old studio in West Fargo. Love that place. So cute. So many memories of like the launch of B&B in that studio. And then a handful. So the brand ambassadors, being the brand ambassador, which I don't know, should I bring that back? It's such a fun thought.
Yeah, and we had a lot of fun.
I
and like
loved it.
Talking about, not just like clients, but friends too.
Yes.
Like all of us, like we still talk to each other and we still like
first.
comment and,
It's you,
so,
Paige,
Megan,
Sally,
Gabby.
There was another gal named Amanda, but I think she moved halfway in between there.
Yep. And
Who am I missing?
I think that was the group.
I'm sorry if we forgot.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long day. It's been a beautiful day. Edited 2 full sessions and ordered prints for 2 whole guests today. So my brain might be half fried already.
Yeah, that's okay.
So this juice is going to be really good. A nice additive. But, okay, so your first session was in the studio. Mm-hmm. And was that your first boudoir session?
Yes,
ever?
It was.
Okay, so what did you think? How did you feel before your session?
Oh my God, I was terrified.
Were you?
I was absolutely terrified.
Okay. What were you scared of the most?
Like I had never really been, first of all, being photographed by a professional photographer for something other than like school pictures or business cards or something. Doing the whole like lingerie type thing. And honestly, like I didn't think that I was one of those girls who could be that, that beautiful girl in the picture.
Right.
I didn't think that I could be. And so I just, I had this image in my head of what I thought I had to stand up to. Right. And, that I think was probably the scariest part of it all.
Okay, so you had a vision in your head of like, okay, if I'm going to do this, excuse me, I need to look like this, or I need to be like this, or like you had set a bar for yourself of like what you had to achieve that day?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Because I hadn't really, at that point in my life, like I didn't really post a whole lot on social media about myself. Like a lot of my posting was with my family or whatever. Right. Because I didn't really feel that great about myself, Right. So I was always looking at social media. Right. So yeah, of course I had this bar and these expectations for myself,
Right. So after, let's talk about what we did for your first session, because I was newer. Like, I mean, I was already like a whole year into, when I started B&B, it was 2017. I was like so pregnant with my son. I was doing the hotel socials, which is one of the ways that like B&B launched during these hotel socials.
Yep.
And then, first of all, how did you find me? How did we find each other?
I had just been like looking up photographers in the area who did boudoir, because I'd already kind of been interested in one, and I'd been thinking about it for a long time. And at that point, I had recently become single, and so I was like, this is my chance to do this, and
like,
and
lift yourself up, huh?
Right. And so I was just Googling different photographers and checking out their Facebook pages and everything. And
I feel so lucky, like when somebody, like, I feel lucky when somebody says, like, I was looking through other people, and like I love all the people in the area. Like, I know almost every single, I wouldn't say every single, there's lots of new boudoir photographers in the area,
and
but
they all do
they're
beautiful
so
work.
good, and we are all so different, and I've gotten to know many of them. But I feel so lucky. It never gets old. Yeah. Like when somebody's like, I was looking and I found you and I liked your work. And I'm like,
and I genuinely didn't think that you would pick me to be one of the brand ambassadors. Like because I figured, oh my gosh, she's going to be getting all these requests and applications from all these beautiful women. I genuinely did not even think that you would pick me to be one. So when you did, I was like over the moon excited. I couldn't believe it.
I'm going to cry during this.
I could not believe it. I was so excited.
I think I've cried during almost every single one of these episodes somehow, but I feel like I'm already. Well,
there's
so emotional.
There's just so much here. Like, there's just so much history with us, too.
Yes,
So.
And we did. Okay, so your first session was your Green Bay jersey.
Yep, go Pat, go.
And then you had this red and black
corset. And stunning red shoes to match.
Oh, yes. So my very first like business cards, was it my first business cards or my first business cards when I made it official? I haven't switched my business cards since.
It was the first, the really nice soft ones.
The soft, luxurious, like really satin feeling.
Yes.
And it's when I started to put a client image on the front of every one of my business cards. So that was when my traditional, like my B&B business card like launched, and it was the picture of your booty in the corset with the pearls in your hand. So if you've seen my original, if you ever had one, that was Bianca.
And again, I was like absolutely honored that you picked my image to be on there. I couldn't believe it.
I also put that image in an ad in the Extra magazine in Moorhead for like a couple years ago for an ad.
That's awesome.
I don't remember if I told you about that or not.
No, you did not, but thank you so much. That's awesome.
Welcome. So then your second session, which was so all of her sessions moving forward were all of them were brand ambassador sessions, right? Okay, so that means that we just had an agreement together that we were going to help each other, and I was going to do X amount of photo shoots with the brand ambassadors, and they were going to share the work, share their experience, authentic, and like all of that kind of fun stuff. And it was literally one of the most fun things that I've ever done. It kept me inspired. It kept me going, thinking of new things. Yeah. And maybe that's what I need this year too, because it keeps popping up into my head of like, do the brand ambassadors, do it. And it was a blast. It was so much fun. I would need a dude on the roster
100%,
this time.
100%, absolutely.
So much fun. And maybe a couple on the roster. Like, I need you two together. We can do solos, but we got to do togethers. And I think that would be amazing as well. But so that one. And what sticks out the most? Oh, go ahead.
I don't know if we're going to say them all in order, too, as we're going. I'm not going to remember them necessarily in order.
But what do you remember the most out about that first shoot?
Just honestly, like, as I was in there, I'm terrified. I was so scared. But, like, getting my hair and makeup done, being pampered, and, like, going in there and no judgments, no criticisms. Like, it was just like super positive vibes. I felt so comfortable the whole time. Like,
your job was to show up and feel good.
Yeah, and I 100% did.
Yeah.
I absolutely did. Like, you made it so easy for the nerves to go away. Obviously, I've learned some things in our sessions over the years, so there's definitely some things I had to learn from it too, but overall, just, I didn't know how you were going to be, because you've done this before, so I didn't know. And I think that was probably the biggest thing, is just, like, I just felt genuinely, I felt beautiful and comfortable, and that was probably the biggest thing about the session day itself.
Right. And I think meeting the photographer, I think about that all the time. I've been photographed by Bethany, and now I've been photographed by Albert, and I knew them.
Right.
You know, and Bethany, not so much personally, but like, I think it is not so much for me, getting to know and wondering who's going to be photographing me. I have some sessions bubbling around in my head that are very specific, and I'm always like, who would be the right person for this job?
Right.
You know, so I can understand the anxieties or the thoughts that is just like, I hope we vibe, or like, I hope I feel good. I mean, because I could take an amazing photo, but if you don't like your experience or you didn't feel good, all you're going to see is how you felt.
Right.
And even if you felt really good, that still happens to some of my guests where they're like got a cramp, and they're like, oh, that's the picture I got the cramp in. And I'm like, yeah, but look how good you look. And it's always a rule, like, if you have a cramp, break pose, don't hold it. But some people won't tell me, and they'll be like, just holding it, killer. But what was I gonna say? I don't know. That'll happen a lot.
It'll come back to you.
But yeah, one thing I think is really, 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 I'm so happy to have you, because one, we've done a lot of shoots, and we're about to roll through how many. What does that look like? But another thing is, a lot of my guests will say they will compare themselves to you.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people, and they'll say, like, my pictures aren't going to look like Bianca, or there'll be a Bianca comment, or they won't know your name, but they'll say, like, it's not going to be like this. And in that exact moment, I will roll into, like, and I think it's good. I think it's good to hear from the people, you know, and I think maybe it's your body type, most likely, that has, like, people in this, like, spot of, like, I'm not going to be like her, or, you know, you're tall and you're lean and all these things. But in those moments, I'm like, every single person has their own insecurities, you know?
And that's honestly how I felt before I did my first one.
Right.
You know, I went in there and I'm like, oh, I've seen girls in jerseys and their booty pictures, and, you know, it's not going to look like them.
Right.
And I genuinely feel like that's, if not everybody, most people, you know, have that.
Right.
That
And
it doesn't matter necessarily. Like, no, you're not going to look exactly like somebody else.
Right.
But that's the beauty of it, though.
yeah. And I talk to people, I'm like, hey, you know, Bianca has her own set of insecurities, and she has her own set of struggles. Even when we photograph, it's not a struggle necessarily, but she doesn't have as many curves. So to get a curved photo, we do other things to make beautiful curves for her. I'm like, celebrate her curves that she has, and then emphasize them, if we want to, a specific way. So, like, I have that conversation. I think it's really, really powerful today that people get to hear that you know, what your thoughts were, your nerves, what you felt like. And obviously you look stunning, and so do they, every single photo shoot.
But also, like, I have pictures that aren't stunning and aren't flattering, you know, and it's, you've learned how to, you know, work with my body, and you helped me see, like, okay, you don't have this, you're not beautiful in that way, but you're beautiful in this way.
Right, and, like, you're always beautiful.
Right, just
always. But
like,
it's getting to know you also, and, like, what you want and how you want to be celebrated and what makes you feel good. I already know, like, you're not going to like this type of whatever.
Right.
But we're going to like this more. Or we do try some things, and because you're taller and you're longer, we don't always like how it turned out, the way that 100%. I put you. So it's not that you're not beautiful. We're like, oh, that one didn't work with like how we were picturing it, and we skipped that one.
100%.
But yeah, so, like, I think it's really a beautiful thing, one, for, like, to know that you have your own set of insecurities, even if you do have a more typical body type that is the society norm of beauty. But you are absolutely beautiful, but you also have your own thing. Like we talked about, like being taller, or what your concerns or what your own anxieties are.
Or,
and you yourself.
I'm not a full-chested person, you know?
Right.
So yeah, there are definitely things I can't do or I can't wear because they're not going to look the same on me.
And you can wear them, but the way you want them to look is not the way they're going to look.
And then I love how they turn out anyway, because it's my own kind of beautiful
body. Yes, so. And I love that because it's one thing that's engraved in us so dang much is, like, because my boobs aren't big or even big, you know, whatever, that it's not beautiful.
Yeah, and you've helped me, like, truly kind of, like, break out of that a lot. Like, before I ever started, and don't get me wrong, it still took a couple years of working with you. But it's, you know, like, now, I'll order that, you know, and 2 years ago I never would have. And it's, you know, like, okay, I'll wear this, or I'll try this pose, or, you know, we shot when I was topless and before, like, that's something that I would have never considered.
I never brought it up. I knew that you never talked about it. I can normally read the room and I'm like, okay, well, this is not something that she wants to do. Right. And I love that. I love that there's been a slow transition. And I tell people that all the time. Like, I'm still going to have guests that even if I did an amazing photo shoot, like, and I'm so inspired and I'm so in love with what I photographed, we could get back and I could show them the images and they could really be kind of breaking down inside about their insecurities or their not favorite parts or just looking. I can't change 30, 25, 42 years of like the voices inside somebody's head in one photo shoot.
No.
I can't change what society has like nailed into us in magazines and movies in one photo shoot. But what I can do is just hope that you felt a little better. You know, you felt a little more empowered and felt a little bit more in love.
You take so many pictures during a session,
yes.
100, 200, 300 pictures.
Yeah.
And even if somebody can find one picture in there
yes.
where they just see that in themselves and just feel that emotion, right. I mean, that's feeling, the huge goal. That feeling is just, it's 1 in a million. It honestly is. So even if they can just find that one picture, you know, like that, it's amazing. It really is.
And I love it. I love it so much. So during your second session, that's a lake shoot, I feel like.
I was going to say the beach, I think, was the second one. Yeah.
So we went out of town. Cass.
Yes.
Cass was the other brand ambassador.
Cass, yeah.
Yes. Okay, I knew we were forgetting somebody. So we went out of town with Cass and got a pontoon ride out to this like beach, basically, like the sandy area along the lake.
And we had all gotten ready in the cabin and did our hair and makeup, and as
Girl
we're on the
time.
pontoon out there, it started sprinkling a little bit.
True.
So like all of our curls and everything everything turned out beautiful, of course. But it's like, of course, like now we're all dolled up and we're out there, and of course it has to start raining.
Rains on us, just a little one, just enough to make everybody wet. I forget about that because I wasn't like, I didn't have hair to worry about, or, you know, it was you guys. So like, I mean, obviously I was worried, but not at the same time. But yeah, we went on this beach. It was beautiful. There was like dead fish bones like along the side, but there was a swing and the sun was setting and we were rushing fast and going and
trying to get all the light. Yep.
I love that session so much. And for that one, it was Gabby, you, Megan, Cass. Mm-hmm. Anybody else? I don't think so.
I'm not sure. I don't think so, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay. That was so much fun. And then after that,
was the car shoot after that?
You did an auto shoot.
I think the car shoot was
I think that was. I think the first one was a brand ambassador shoot, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. And then, so that's 3. Mm-hmm. After that,
I don't know when the commercial
was in December of 2019.
So that was in that year. I know we're missing a couple. I'm just trying to think of what they were.
Did you do any more typical boudoir in the old studio?
No. It was the commercial and my very first one were the only ones that I was in the original studio for.
And then
I know we're missing something else too.
Motorcycle shoot. But that was in between, or maybe not. That was 2020. So that was after.
Yeah, the motorcycle shoot was after that.
Which was so much fun. You burned your leg immediately when we got there.
Yep, right after you told me to be very careful and not do that. That's exactly what I did. 100%.
He rolls up, drives the motorcycle to us, delivers it, and I think like it was like the same, like it was within seconds though. I was like, it's gonna be really, really hot, and then you touched it, and then you had this big burn. Let me tell you guys, she rocked that photo shoot. I know she was in pain because I literally just burnt the tips of my fingers, like barely, and I couldn't touch or bend my fingers. And hers was like huge.
I still have like a permanent mark from it, so.
Killer. But also we were at the top of the Moorhead
Mall.
The parking garage.
Yeah.
Or parking garage.
Yeah.
And just so happened to be a whole like car show or like car meetup group there. Yep. And I was like, well, do you want an audience or should we leave? And we're like,
we're already here, so might as well.
So she did her whole entire, like, super gorgeous. You had this, like...
Yeah, it's like a black bra with, like, gold spikes on it.
Spike top.
And, of course, the matching shoes.
Matching shoes.
Gotta have it.
And then what was you wearing for bottoms?
I had, like, black denim shorts that had, like, rips in the back on the pocket.
Okay, yes. And she did that whole entire photo shoot with a full audience.
Yep. That was the first one I've ever done with a full audience like that.
So good. And then
the nerds were there for a couple minutes and then they went away. It was like, whatever, you guys aren't even here. We're just doing our thing. It's fine.
Right. And on top of that, you had a full audience and a burn raging on your leg. Like, insane. So that's 4 shoots that I can think of. And then the new one in the new studio with your Calvin Klein.
The Calvin Kleins. The last one that we were just talking about when I was wearing like the white mesh. The one that you were just going to upload to my gallery.
Yes. So that was your most recent session.
Yes.
Okay, so let's back it up just a little bit.
So then there was like a Christmassy kind of one.
We did some branding because I wanted some Christmas shots and stuff like that. And you came in.
We're missing something.
Yeah. And then in between that one is the other commercial. You came into the studio and they recorded and did video for the forum.
Yeah, that one. Yep. I know we're still missing.
Are we still missing?
Yes.
Okay, so what was that though? That was like 4 more?
Yeah.
So that's 7 at least.
Yeah, 7.
There's 1 missing probably. But yeah, so we've done 7 sessions in the studio. Or together.
Together, not in the studio, but together.
And I think that's so dang exciting. And their most recent session was like the demure. So that was where I wanted to slow down. I wanted to capture the details. And sure, your face could be in it, but it's like not about that. It was like all the like the delicate or the way the light hits your legs or your ankles or like across your shoulder. Like, and I still got pictures of your face, but it just wasn't about that. It was about just slowing down and just existing. And I thought that was so cool.
And yeah, like they're totally beautiful in a totally different way.
And then we ended with spritzing your whole body with water so that I could try to capture that. I needed macro lens. I need a lens that I can zoom in even farther. I think that would be really cool because then I could really get the water droplets.
Yep.
Or there's got to be a trick. I gotta try it again. But that was super fun. So how would you say that you prepare for your sessions, or do you?
Oh, I definitely do for sure.
Okay. What do you do?
Like when we were doing the brand ambassador ones, it was very much, okay, so here, this is my thought. Like you would say, hey, this is my thought. This is where we're going to go.
Right.
So I'd pick every outfit, make it very themed. For the car shoot, I did, like the 50s style is kind of like pinup dress where it flared out. And I did the Rosie the Riveter, or the beach. I did the Baywatch red swimsuit.
Did you do the vintage shoot?
No.
Okay.
I didn't do that one.
With Carmen and Hayworth?
Nope.
Okay.
I did not do that one.
Okay.
But yeah, so Calvin Klein's, like that's something that you see it everywhere, and I've always wanted to do that,
But that was so good.
Like anytime I book a session, I always have like a theme in mind.
Right.
And as you know, it usually contains red and green. And it's so funny because when I was little, I hated red. But my whole life, people have told me, oh, you look really good when you wear red. And okay, they're right.
Yeah.
So I finally caved into that. But so
and that was a thing.
That was a definite thing.
She just told me she got a brand new outfit and she's like, and it's not red. And I was like, but is it green? And she's like, yep. Yes. And it's gorgeous. So she's already planning her next session.
I am. And a lot of times too, like I'll pick my shoes and then pick my outfits to match my shoes. So
but I love that so much. Because you have the bombest shoes all the time. How many shoes do you have?
Have you counted? Last time I counted, I had just 53 pairs of stilettos alone. So yeah. So
God, I love that. I love it so much.
That, yeah. So that's my other favorite part about shooting is that I get to wear and showcase all my shoes.
Yes.
So.
And you've brought some phenomenal, and I'm sure they're in the pictures. Like if we just scrolled through the Instagram before because we were trying to figure out when our first session was, and we scrolled through the Instagram, and amazing. So many pairs of shoes that you've got to showcase. What would you say the biggest difference is between your first session and your last session?
Oh my God. My first session, like you would tell me to move this direction or put my hand here or move that way. And I was very rigid and I was very stiff and I didn't really understand you. And now I feel like you don't even necessarily have to say anything because like I see you look at the picture after you take it. I see your expression. I'm like, nope, I gotta adjust a little bit.
Right.
So, and yeah, so now, and just the comfortability factor, you
Right.
know, like I come
And
in here and
you-
it's literally like we've been friends for my entire life. So that's definitely, you know, comfortability and just kind of, at least I feel like I'm getting
Yeah.
better at knowing what I'm
You
supposed
do.
to
And like,
do. So
I feel like it's been I don't remember you being harder to photograph in the beginning, even though you felt like it because you didn't know what I was going to say. You didn't know what I expected or what I thought. But now I think like we have worked together so many times, so you already know my flow.
Yeah.
And even though my flow has definitely changed over time, we're just connected together when we shoot. And like, so you get to move freely because you feel safe.
Yep.
You feel comfortable. So you get to be yourself, but also move freely. But when I say up, down, over, look down, you know all of those things too. So like, you don't have to, at first, when I photograph somebody for the very first time and I have them out, or their back is popped and their head's over and I have them look down. It's so many prompts.
Yep.
Plus I'm saying, okay, uncurl your toes or soften your hands. I'm saying 5 or more different things at one time.
and trying to remember to do all of them at the same time.
And most people, when I'm telling them these things, their thinking face comes on. Like, okay, feet. And I'm like, oh, look down. And they're like, okay, feet, hands, hair. Like, and I'm like, okay, relax. So that first 5 to 10 minutes or that first whole session, even though honestly, it's normally just the first 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah. But the comfortability as you go on, it does shift and it does change. I don't think I really have to ask you if you do it again because we just talked about you got new lingerie. You can't wait to photograph in it. Do you have any ideas for your next session or anything that you've seen or you want to do, something that's inspiring you?
I have a couple ideas, but nothing that's really like stuck out and like this is what you're gonna do. So, obviously, like the wings that you have here in the studio, you know, I want to make that.
We haven't done the wings yet.
No, I haven't done the wings yet.
What? How?
I don't.
Okay,
but
so
I haven't
wings.
done the wings.
Check.
But yeah, I guess. I don't know. I have a couple ideas, but nothing set in stone.
Well, I think the little ones that you're like, that's not really a big idea. Is it something that you want to keep secret for now? Or is it just a little idea that you don't feel like is that big?
Just right now, they're just little ideas that aren't that big, but definitely we'll be shooting again. That's definitely not a question.
Oh, I know. So. We're already talking about your outfit. And it's gorgeous. I love that it ties and comes up high. It's not like, I love side ties, but sometimes they're just low.
Yep.
This one comes up high.
Yep, like right above my hip bones.
Yes,
yep,
I
like
love that so much. What would you say surprised you the most? Like whether it be something now or with your first session or over time, what do you feel like, is there anything that's really surprising to you?
The first time I got the very first session that we did, when I got my pictures back, I cried. I genuinely did not know that I could be that beautiful, and I cried. I cried a lot, actually.
Did you?
Because I was blown away. Like, I didn't think I could be that person. So that was the biggest surprise out of all of them. I'm always surprised with how the pictures turn out, because sometimes it's like, okay, this feels really weird. But like I trust you, you know. And then I see the pictures, and it's like, okay,
you're literally spraying water on my butt cheeks.
And I'm like, okay, it turned out perfect. I get it, you know. But there will never be anything that beats that. When I was driving my car, actually.
Were you?
I was driving my car, and like I had been checking my email for days, just waiting for this. And I finally, so I had to pull my car over because I just started crying. And I was like, oh my, like for the first time in my life, like I felt so truly beautiful.
Do you feel like it was like a okay, I see it now?
Yeah.
Kind of a feeling, instead of like, oh, I'm meeting the standard finally, which is never the goal. But like,
no, it was,
I see me.
It was
I see what everybody else says about me. I see, like, seeing yourself.
That's exactly what it was. Is okay, like
instead of what we convince ourselves.
The outside world sees when they look at me. Woo! And that it was a huge, honestly, it was a shock. It was a huge realization to me, like, okay, you are beautiful, not because of any standards that are out there, but I mean, look at this picture.
You are, in the things that you like your jersey and the fun, and like, oh, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
And like, I remember I loved On the Block because the way I photographed you was not typical because I was still learning to use the black background. We were just using a chair. Obviously, you have beautiful long legs that you got to work with them. And or if you put them like this or like this. But they had such marionette kind of vibes in some of them because of the way that I had your arm. And I fell in love with it. I don't know what you thought of it, but I was so in love with them because I could have literally drawn in some strings and it would have had such a really fun vibe like that.
And I remember feeling so awkward, but I remember you and Aaron like telling me like, just be a doll, you know, like just and like trying to like look like and I'm like, gosh, this just it feels so awkward. But yeah, like looking back at the pictures, I'm like, okay, I get it, you know?
And I maybe that's how it was, like, because I can't remember the exact moment, but was it in the moment that I said that?
Yeah,
this is what it looks like, so let's play into it.
Yeah, we were already just posing on that chair and everything, and then you guys were like, yeah, okay, like we're kind of seeing this, like let's keep going with that.
I love that. I love that. Is there anything else, like when you think about, like obviously we've become such great friends. We're actually going to supper after this, which I'm so excited about because it's been too long. I feel like I've missed life.
Realistically, that's also the first time that we ever met in person. Is we were over at Mick's office, and that's the very first time that we ever met.
The brand ambassador meetings were there. Gosh, I've been loving that place for a long time. A lot of history.
I think that was before we ever did my first shoot. I think
it probably.
I think you wanted to meet everybody before we did any shoots, if I'm not mistaken. So.
Probably.
So, yeah.
That would make sense.
Everything's coming full circle.
I love it. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, it's been amazing. Like, shooting the commercial, that day was super emotional. It was you and Sarah. So, Sarah, nobody's seen the episode yet, but the previous episodes, the one I have to split up, is with Sarah. So, I remember, I don't even remember, but she cried so much. I don't remember. I don't know. Did I just like trauma block like something in that during that time frame? But I don't remember. But she cried, and like I love it so much. And every time I've asked you to like jump in, I'm like, hey, I'm doing this thing. You want to join me? And you're just all in.
Absolutely.
And I love it so much. And I'm like, I don't know what it's going to turn out like. There's going to be a guy in the studio who's recording us for a video, and we didn't even really know what we were going to wear that day.
No.
You put on the two-piece like PJ set with that, which had never been worn.
Right. I did, like I had a robe that I had brought with me, and that's what I wore like on the outside. But yeah, I didn't really.
No, you wore that sheer swimsuit cover, that pink sheer swimsuit cover.
That too, and then I wore that other robe. And then when I was sitting in the chair,
that was beautiful.
But yeah, I really didn't know what I was going to wear until, like I had my bag of stuff with, but
I realized
just like for that situation and scenario, you know, I was like, oh, I don't know, like what's over the line, what's not.
Right.
So.
Well, that's what we were trying to navigate, is because we knew that it had to be pretty PG for it to make the paper, and to have video footage, but still showcase like the beauty of the body and the beauty of like celebration.
Yeah.
And gosh, that was really fun. And looking back, like obviously I have like the newspapers printed and like all. Did you ever get a copy?
No, I did not.
Oh, it was Aaron or Aaron's family or somebody nabbed me a couple copies of it.
I saved it at that point. I had a link saved to it on my phone because I was pulling it up for anybody and everybody. I was like, hey, look at this! Like,
I'm down to one copy because my cat vomited on it. I was like, of all the places, you're just gonna pick that irreplaceable piece right there.
Oh, of course, that's what they do.
But he ate hair ties, so it was his first like few days in my house. Gotcha. But cats are naughty. He doesn't vomit. He just pisses in my plants now.
Oh, love that. Mine, if they're gonna vomit, they will vomit on the carpet right next to the linoleum floor.
It's always there.
Right,
it's always there.
Buddy, you're 2 inches away. Could you just move a little bit? No.
I feel like you had the right idea and then turned your head last second. Come on. It's so good. Okay, so the last thing was the commercial, and then the last one was the demure session. Mm-hmm. Do you have any advice for someone who maybe is just thinking about it, or hasn't had a session yet, or maybe is just like really, really nervous?
I would say if you're contemplating whether or not you should book a session, you should book a session. I thought about it for a long time before I ever did it, and I'm so glad that I did. Obviously, anybody can contact you at any point in time. So if there are any questions, if you share your concerns, let Tonya know, let Tonya know what's going on, like I've said, you've helped calm me down so much. And no matter what your hesitation is, at the end of the day, you will be so excited and so happy that you did it. I mean, there is no feeling like getting your collection back and saying, oh my God, that's me. Like that's what I present to the world, like no matter men, women, couples, whoever wants to do a shoot, it will help you learn to love and appreciate yourself in an entirely different way.
I love that. I just brought up another question. I feel like every 6 months I'm a different woman. Like if I was photographed now and then 6 months from now, 6 months ago, I already know like of the life that I'm going through. Oh yeah. I'm like, I'm so different then. Where do you feel like, is one of your sessions like harder, or was one of your sessions not just your first session because it was your first one, but did you feel different, or did you feel like, oh, that's who I am now? Or were you going through something hard? Like what was your main, I know you said your main reason at first for doing the session, not your main reason, but you were just coming out of a relationship. Mm-hmm. Do you have any session of yours that sticks out like emotionally for just like some sort of transition or anything like that?
Honestly, like not necessarily just one in particular, because it's been over the course of so many years. Yeah. I've been through so many life changes with you. So like me looking back at each and every one of my sessions, like I can spot differences, whether it's in myself or the way that you shoot it or whatever. Like I can see small differences, sometimes bigger differences.
Or like what you're going through at the time. Like when you look at a picture,
I would say probably like when I look back at like the day that we did my Calvin Klein shoot, I would say honestly that was probably like the healthiest and happiest I think I've been, out throughout the course of our relationship, like you and me. And we've shot when I've been in some really tough places, but we've also shot when you've been in some tough places too. Yes. So not necessarily one in particular that sticks out.
Isn't that incredible?
It's like I can look at them all and I can see the subtle differences.
Right. This is when I was going through this, and that's when Tonya was going through this, and most of my clients would never know that information. Right. But like, you do.
Right. And like this is when I was, living my best life. Everything was going right. Yeah. And so not one in particular, but they all have a very special meaning to me because like I also I can correlate them with things and times that were going on in my life. So
and it's like a chapter book.
It is. It really is.
This is the chapter of my life I was in, and that's what I love about a picture. And maybe that's where we can just wrap this up, because I will talk all day long, and then it'll be another 2-parter, and then people will be like, not a 2-part episode, because that's how I feel every time I watch or listen to my favorite podcast. I'm like, not again. But looking like a picture captures, not only does it show you who you are, and some of us get dolled up and some of us don't, and some however you want to be photographed that day. And I think that's the beauty of it. Do I want to come as I am? Do I want to be somebody else?
It's completely your choice.
Go full glam, or do I want to dress it down? But like the image captures not only you seeing yourself, but like who I was and who I am, and like the power and the journey of it all. So like when people say, "Oh, maybe I'll come see you when XYZ." Normally it's when I lose 10 pounds or when I lose 20 pounds. And I'm like, you got to start loving yourself now, because you can always do it again then. But imagine if you gave yourself all the love right now and you gave your body the love it deserves. Maybe it'll be the momentum to continue the journey that you want to be on. If weight loss is your journey, or changing your body, or whatever that looks like. Yeah. Whatever your when is. If you just love yourself right now, because that's what we want. And that's what we're holding. When you say, I won't reward myself, or I'm not worthy, or I'm not good enough for the session until we're just beating ourselves up. We don't get the reward. We don't get the love.
Any and every single person is worthy of that. Everybody is worthy and deserving of having time that they are made to feel special and important and beautiful.
And it's not when you XYZ.
No,
it's
because
right now.
You're beautiful every single day.
And you're worthy right now. And we do this thing to ourselves that we kind of are, I do it still. It's not usually anything to do with my body, but like when I work harder or when I XYZ, then I can buy the concert tickets. Then I can celebrate myself. Then I can earn whatever good thing I don't feel like I deserve.
And I think that's so many people, but
in reality, if you give yourself the love
which you deserve
right now, you can always, if something changes or whatever that goal is, do it again later.
And it's the shoots are 100% your call.
Yes.
It's not you have to shoot like this, you have to wear this. What makes you feel beautiful?
Yeah. And like you said, you didn't and maybe I asked you in the beginning, is topless something that you want to do and you didn't want to? I don't even remember if that's even something.
I think that was like brought up at the very first session, you know, like kind of what are your boundaries? Where do you feel comfortable?
Yes. And I don't think I mentioned it again.
You never brought it up again, literally until this very last
session.
And I was like, you know what? Okay.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm reading the room too of like what comfort level and how you're feeling and the way you're moving and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like I noticed like a shift.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I'm just going to ask her again. It's been like, what, 5 years? Maybe I'll see what she wants to do. And like topless isn't for me.
Yeah.
Like it's for you. And it's been a journey and it's been a transition. I'm like, what do you want to do now? We've done all this stuff. How do you want to celebrate yourself? And we did do such a beautiful transition all this time. And I was like, are you ready now? And if you would have said no, I'd have been like, okay. And we could have done something entirely different because I could have done that whole entire water droplets idea without you topless.
Absolutely.
But it was really fun. And I don't think we stayed covered the whole time even though you were topless. Did you stay covered? There's a couple.
There was a couple that weren't, but like, I mean, it just goes to show like how much you've like truly helped me be able to love my body.
Yeah.
Because of course, somebody from the outside looking in, they're gonna look at your body and appreciate it in a whole different way than you as an actual individual do. It is great.
But also, you gotta remember that we're all human. We're all working through. And
absolutely. Everybody has
everybody's
insecurities. Everybody's got their own story. But every single person deserves that opportunity and that day to be pampered and
not
loved
in
and
2
made
years,
to feel special.
5 years, right now.
Right now.
And so I want to say, if you want to talk about doing a session, the consultations are commitment free. So what that means is if you reach out to me, I'm going to ask if you want to do a phone consultation or if you want to come into the studio and do a studio tour and consultation. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what your session means to you, how you found me. What do you want your session to look like? You don't have to have all the answers. And sometimes people don't have an answer at all. They don't know. So I'll say, hey, well, here's some things that I've done. Does any of this resonate with you? Do you want to show up so authentically you, or do you want to be somebody else? Like, I'll ask all of these questions. And you don't have to pay $1.
And our consultations, even now, when we've shot together so many times, our consultations are still at least half hour, 45 minutes minimum on the phone even.
Because we're chatty.
Yes,
but they're in detail.
They're very in detail. You still ask me all of the questions that you asked me on day one.
Right. And I think it's important, and there's another level for me also of like pressure, even though it doesn't like feel like pressure, but like I want to do something different for you.
Right.
What do you want out of it? Here's what we've done. I don't want to photograph you the exact same, even though like we've already talked about, we're not the same people we were 5 years ago. So we can kind of redo some things. That will feel so different, even though they're the same. Right. However, it's a challenge for me of like, how can I deliver something else? So, I mean, we've had you upside down one of the last shoots and tied your arms up in little ribbons, which is so fun. I think I still am using that picture on the subscribe page.
Okay. I love it.
It's hidden. It's a hidden page, but it's there.
And, like we do a lot of phone consults, but especially for people who don't really have any ideas and they're looking for suggestions, she has an entire closet full of outfits, shoes, everything. So she's got plenty of suggestions. If you don't know,
size 6 all the way to extra small.
So I mean, if you don't have any ideas, you can definitely wear stuff that she has in the client closet.
Yeah.
Or if nothing else, it'll kind of give you a springboard of, hey, this is really cute. Let me look at something similar to that style.
Yes.
So that's also one of the things that I think is so huge, is you have such an inclusive closet for any and all clients who want to be a part of this.
And like you said, it is a really great starting point. And there's so many different ways to start a consultation to help somebody figure out what they want to do. Because I feel like we all have that inside of us of like, I want to do a session. Like it's in there. But then sign up, reach out, do a consultation, because I will never ask you to book during your consultation because, one, I need you to do it online. It's on my whole website is set up for the booking process, and there's a questionnaire on there that's super important. There's a little sign here that's super important. So like when we do your consultation, I will always end with, fantastic. When you're ready to book, go on the website, pick the collection and session or just session that feels good for you, and there's just no pressure or commitment. I want to get your mind going. Do the consultation, get your mind flowing. It will feel easier after that.
Yes.
Even just having that consultation, being able to ask the questions, get something flowing of like, ooh, that does sound fun. Get the juices moving. You can still take months to plan it out, but now you know what you're looking forward to, or now you know what you won't do,
right,
and what you might do, and how much fits into an hour and a half. Do you want to add more time? Do you want to be in the tub? Do you want the nudescapes that are more artistic? Like there's so many questions that we get to run through and to design a session. So with that, I'm going to finish my sham juice. And we're going to go to supper. So
cheers, ma'am.
Cheers. Thank you so much for following along. And if you have any questions, there's going to be when the podcast when they launch, there's going to be social media posts that go along with it to say what episode it is, and you can comment on there. If you have any questions for Bianca, go ahead and post them on the social media post, whether that be the Instagram or the Facebook. If you're not on the subscribe list so you get a notification when the new episodes launch, go on to the BeautyMarksBoudoir.com Facebook page and click on the podcast button, and you'll be able to, one, register to be on if you have photographed a boudoir with me. Two, you can just sign up to make sure you're getting emails directly to you, so you don't miss out on some of the new stuff, some new announcements and details. So you can comment and reach out on all the social media platforms. They should be launched by then.
Hopefully.
So have a good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Talk soon.